Hi everyone, it's Charlie. Happy Comic-Con week. We gotta talk about some of the really big Easter eggs in the Spider-Man Far From Home end credits scenes. So there's a really innocuous moment that doesn't seem like a really big deal as part of the bigger end credits scene that winds up being this huge Easter egg for the Fantastic Four. Kevin Feige even had to come out recently and say something about it. So it's happening during that web-slinging scene when he's on his way to meet MJ that I attached the clip of at the beginning of this video. So we'll explain the scene and what it means for the future of Marvel, especially given what Kevin Feige came out and said after everyone started talking about the Easter egg. Because it's Comic-Con week, there's a new round of that IMAX ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a Spider-Man comment on the video. I'll name a new winner at the end of this. And it should go without saying, but spoiler warning for Spider-Man Far From Home if you have not seen the movie yet, because we'll be talking about what happens during the post-credit scenes. So I've already done a couple videos about the end credit scenes. There's a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. For the purposes of this video, we're talking about something that happens during the mid-credit scene before you get to the J. Jonah Jameson scene where he appears in the MCU for the first time. So at the end of the movie, Peter Parker confronts Happy and Aunt May after they got back to New York City about their relationship. They have this funny joke about them implying that maybe we're just going to see where things go. Maybe they'll stay together, maybe not. Just a joke about what the plot of Spider-Man 3 might be for these two characters. Spider-Man's totally grossed out. He takes off because he has a date with MJ in the new Steve Ditko suit. Tom Holland said that they referred to it as the Bosco suit on set, but I still think of it as the Steve Ditko suit because that's the look that they're going for, the classic original Steve Ditko Spider-Man suit. He swings through New York City, giving us what we haven't seen in a long time in a Spider-Man movie, showing just how much better they've gotten at displaying the physics of Spider-Man. I feel like they really nailed that during this film in all of his web-slinging scenes. Much more balletic version of Spider-Man than we've seen in previous versions. They had started to get there, it's just that special effects have started to finally catch up with what your imagination can come up with based on the comics. But we haven't really seen a big web-slinging scene like this through New York City that looks amazing since Andrew Garfield's amazing Spider-Man. There's a moment during the scene when he's running across the rooftops. There's a Green Goblin Easter egg I'll do a separate video about. If you thought you spotted a Green Goblin Easter egg during this moment here, then you are correct, but that's a whole different thing we need to talk about in a separate video. Little things might seem like no big deal, but it takes a lot of people working on visual effects to make Spider-Man swing through the city like this. They manipulate the images so much, anything you spot is no coincidence. While he's swinging his way to MJ, he stops and glides through a new opening in the newly redesigned Avengers Tower with the mystery buyer that we still don't know about yet. More about that in a second. But when he swings down through, he hangs on a pole, swirls around, and then lands on the ground. If you look in the background of this shot, you can see a very large construction sign in front of that Avengers Tower that says, "We're so excited to show you what comes next." And it's really only on screen for a couple seconds, so almost blink and you miss it. But there's a 1, 2, 3, and a question mark where the 4 should be, so this is an Easter egg for a bunch of different things. The colors of the numbers correspond to the colors of the Fantastic Four characters and their powers. The fact that the 4 is a question mark is a reference to Marvel Phase 4 coming next. Like, you don't know what it's going to be because we haven't told you yet, but we're really excited to tell you. But it also represents the Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four because it's a question mark like, where did the number 4 go? You can't see it because the number 4 is invisible, like the Invisible Woman. The street corner that Peter and MJ are standing on is also very important for this too, because East 41st and Library Way is just a block away from where the Fantastic Four's Baxter Building is in the comics. So I know a lot of you are wondering now if the Fantastic Four are the mystery people who bought the Avengers Tower from Iron Man in Spider-Man Homecoming. And Kevin Feige's recent comments is also kind of important for the way you interpret this Fantastic Four Easter egg. So it should go without saying that this probably does not mean that they're going to debut the Fantastic Four in Spider-Man 3. They're not trying to tell you, oh, they're coming right up next. It's more of a wink at comic book Easter eggs as well as future stuff in Marvel Phase 4 without any really hard dates on anything. Like, of course there's going to be a new Fantastic Four movie, but they haven't told us when it's coming yet or who the actors are going to be. Another really good example of a really cool Easter egg like this that doesn't necessarily mean things are happening right away is the Venom Easter egg. Yes, there is a Venom symbiote Easter egg that happens earlier in the movie in Venice when he's fighting the big Hydro Man monster. I'll do a separate video about that too because it is pretty cool. And it's a nice wink at the symbiote saga in the comics, but they're not trying to use it to say that Peter is going to be wearing the symbiote in Spider-Man 3. So be careful that you don't take a lot of Easter eggs as being super literal or them nailing themselves into a corner about what's coming right up next. Kevin Feige recently came out because people were asking him, there's a sign there, is the Fantastic Four the people that bought the Avengers Tower? And he says, we love to watch people speculate on Marvel movies and find these Easter eggs, but oftentimes a lot of speculation winds up being incorrect. So all he was really saying is that don't assume that the Fantastic Four are the people that bought the Avengers Tower. That could still be anybody. So if you're still holding out hope that Oscorp is the people that bought the Avengers Tower, it's still possible that they could use that, because it does sound like, based on the end credits with J. Jonah Jameson outing Spider-Man home run, he's going to be running from a lot of his villains all over New York City in Spider-Man 3. I really do like Spider-Man Home Run is the title of Spider-Man 3. You could do it Run Home, but I think Home Run just plays a little bit better. When you think about the scope of the second post-credit scene with Nick Fury on the Sword space station and what that means for the future of Marvel movies, it also means that they're pushing in a much more scientific, space-based direction, and this just provides a lot more opportunities for Fantastic Four characters to get involved. They're known as Marvel's first family in the comics, but they're also Marvel's first science-based family because of Mr. Fantastic. They're the original science bros of Marvel Comics because they debuted before most of these other big characters that we've seen in the MCU. There have been a couple scenes in recent Marvel movies that have hinted at Fantastic Four in Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, Oscorp things. Remember Ant-Man and the Wasp? There's a lot of stuff going on with the quantum realm, just a whole lot of territory for them to explore if they do more Ant-Man and the Wasp films. If they don't, they can just use that in other people's films a la Fantastic Four. Because what is one of the biggest concepts to come out of some of the more recent Fantastic Four titles? The idea of the multiverse, the idea of the negative zone. So you just have a lot of Marvel characters traveling the multiverse. If anyone's going to do that, Fantastic Four characters would be great for that if they don't want to double down on Ant-Man and the Wasp and Stature now. Because remember, we're in 2023, so Cassie Lang is still a teenager old enough to take the mantle and become a hero in training with her father. There was a really cool deleted scene during that movie of the actual quantum city within the quantum realm. It implied that Janet Van Dyne had been living there with those beings and she had sort of been altered. A lot of theory crafters are trying to use this as a potential path to X-Men because they talk about the way she was fundamentally evolved, like she's no longer totally human. Then you have deleted scenes like this where she talks about the life forms down there.
There's so much we didn't know about this place, Henry. Worlds upon worlds, entire civilizations. Far more than we ever theorized.
So when you're thinking about Marvel Phase 4, Fantastic Four, Multiverse, just start to think in that direction. And I still get a ton of questions about Mysterio's story during the movie about the multiverse. Was he lying about the multiverse? The good thing is they already established that in the Doctor Strange movie, so all the scientific stuff that he's talking about is still sound. The only thing that he was lying about was his actual backstory, being from another Earth in the nature of the elementals.
We could use someone like you on my world.
I'm sorry, your world?
Mr. Beck is from Earth, just not ours.
There are multiple realities, Peter. This is Earth, Dimension 616. I'm from Earth 833. We share identical physical constants, level 4 symmetry.
I'm sorry, you're saying there's a multiverse? Because I thought that was just theoretical. I mean, that completely changes how we understand the initial singularity. It's insane. Sorry.
Paul Rudd has said that he's not totally sure that they're going to make Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. So he's like, people, please start a petition. So it just hasn't been completely confirmed what they're going to be doing with Quantum Realm Fantastic Four next in the MCU. But the really good news is that Marvel Phase 4's Comic-Con panel is happening in 1 week as I'm posting this video. Some of you probably won't see this video till a little bit later. Of course, I'll do videos for whatever they reveal, but let me know in the comments, what do you want them to do with the Fantastic Four when they bring them officially into the MCU? Do you want a solo movie first where they reboot the characters, or do you want to see them appear in somebody else's movie first? That Venom Easter egg video and the Green Goblin Easter egg video should post in the next couple of days. There was also a really funny Chris Hemsworth Thor parody that he just posted, so I might do a separate video about that too. But congratulations to Hitendra Patel, you're the giveaway winner from my last big Marvel video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Click here for that new Avengers Endgame deleted scenes video, and click here for all my other Easter eggs from the Spider-Man Far From Home end credits. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.